here, and today's video is about combining Dr. Chan's memory methods with the Cornwall note-taking method, because I have lots of comments. One of the comments, a person asked me how they could combine it with the Cornwall note-taking method. Now I must confess, despite doing lots of things with my daughter with helping her to revise, I had never heard of this method before, so I carried out some research. And it seems that this is a method used very often in universities, but to be quite honest, it could easily be used in schools as well for GCSE, A-levels or any other exams for that matter. So basically, if I can just explain the Cornwall note-taking method for those parents who are like me, may never have heard of it. Basically, if I can just show you that there, don't know if you can see, you draw a line across the top and allow a little bit of space. You do a line down there on the left-hand side, and you do another line across. And basically what you do then is you put a little title in the top part, that top section there, and you can also add the date the lecture or the lesson was, and maybe the teacher. So in mine I've just got composition of blood, 28th to the 10th, and then I put my own name as the teacher, because this person asked me to do it on cells. So I thought if I do it on blood, I've just done it very general, but you'll get the basic idea then of how you can adapt it to any subject or any topic. All right, and then in the main part, the big part there, is where you put a lot of this. You either watch a video or you go through a revision guide, or you just do a quick search on Google or whatever, and all the main parts you just actually put into there. So that's the main bones really of what you want to learn, okay, every sort of fact. Then on the left-hand side there, you just bullet point it to the most important points from there. You abbreviate it really. So at a quick glance, before an exam or a test or a lesson, you can just look down the margin there for a quick reference and go, yeah, I remember that. And then the bottom part then is just a summarise, where you summarise into 2 or 3 sentences what the main context of the script is. So for this method, I'm just going to keep referring down to make sure I don't forget anything. So as far as I can see it there, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Sort of, those of you who follow my Dr. Chan methods will know I say to you, well, however many points you want to learn, you then find rooms. So in this instance, we're going to pick 4 rooms, okay? So for the first one, we're only trying to learn the title or what it's going to be about. So for that one, I would just have some blood on the door handle as you're entering the house, because as I've told you before, the more out there it is and the more disgusting it is, the more likely you are to remember. So you're opening the door and there's blood on the door, so we know that what we're going to be covering in this video is blood, okay, or the composition of blood. Then we enter into a big room. Why do I say big room? Because this is where we're going to put the main bones, the main content into. So we need to remember that this is the big section of the Cornwall note-taking. So say a big room like this one, we'll say. Now then, blood contains 4 different components, which is plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells and platelets. All right, now the easy way that I have actually learned that is, again, those of you who follow my videos will know I'm a big fan of mnemonics as well. All right, so instead of me trying to think, oh, plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, I'm going to make a little rhyme, and my little rhyme is going to be, Pearl really wears pearls. Okay, so you could have, as soon as you go into the room, you could have a picture of a pearl with a big cross through it saying, no, it's a no-go area. So Pearl really wears pearls. So we know then that's going to stand for plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells and platelets, okay? So that's how we're going to remember the 4 main components. Now we obviously need a bit more information about these 4 various components, so this is how we're going to learn this. The first one, if you remember, is plasma. So what do you think is going to be the best prompt to make you remember that the first one is plasma? When with me, and I so obviously adapted to suit whatever is going to trigger it for you to remember it, but mine is going to be a big, huge, massive plasma TV as soon as I walk through the room. Now, if I just explain to you, the function of a plasma is to transport carbon dioxide, digested food, urea, hormones and heat. Whew, that's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? So this is where Dr. Chan's memory methods can help, because what we're going to do is simplify this into images, because images will stay in your long-term memory a lot longer than text, all right? So the first thing we do, transport. Well, let's put a bus. No, I tell you what, we'll make a train. We're going to have, on that plasma TV, the massive plasma TV, there's going to be a train, and from the funnel of the train, we're going to have steam. And guess what's going to come out of the steam first of all? It's going to be the letters of CO2. So we're going to remember then, by the CO2 steam, that's going to be carbon dioxide. Digested food, the next thing that's going to come out the funnel is, guess what? Digested biscuits. Because I don't know about you, if you're like me, I like a digested biscuit. So after the CO2 coming out in smoke, we can have digestive biscuits. And these digestive biscuits are going to be pointing at you, because you is going to be a prompt to remember. I'm not trying to be rude by pointing, it's just to make you remember. Is going to stand for urea. I believe that's how you say it, U-R-E-A. Bit of a mouthful, so just remember it's urea. And then the next thing that's going to come out of there then is hormones. Now that's a bit of a tricky one to learn, so guess what? The digestives are not going to just be pointing you going, you are. They're also going to be playing a harmonica. Harmonica sort of sounds like hormones, okay? Because you'll know the hormones are going to be the medical term you're going to try and remember by harmonica. And the heat, well, hormones make you quite hot, don't you? If you're a woman of a certain age, like I am, hormones can make you have sweats and flushes. So let's just have the biscuits having a flush to get in hot. So that's how we're going to remember that it transports, because it's in the train transporting them, and it's going to be CO2, digestive, yeah? Digested food for digestives. Hormones, harmonica, hormones. And can you remember the last one? The last one is heat, because it's getting all hot with the hormones, okay? The next one then is red blood cells. So guess what? In that room as well, we're going to go from the train and we can have a red bus. We'll make it a London red bus or whatever red bus you want to. And that's transporting oxygen. So guess what? We can have that one come from the exhaust, because let's keep it a common theme. So from the exhaust, you're going to have O2 coming out of there in steam or whatever comes out of the exhaust, okay? So plasma, its function is to, red blood cells is just to transport oxygen. So the O2 is going to prompt you to remember that it's oxygen. The third one then, remember, Pearl really weighs, so we're on the W, which is white blood cells. Now, white blood cells ingest pathogens and produce antibodies. Basically, they help our immune system. So for that one, I thought we'll step off the bus and then we can have it done again. People of a similar age to me will remember the Pac-Man that came out. And you know when he gobbles, you see him on this machine and he gobbles up things? Well, this one, he's bright white, ghost-like, I suppose. Let's think of Halloween. And he's going to gobble up the path in front of him. And guess what? That's our pathogens. All right, and then you'll know it's producing antibodies because we know it's to do with the immune system. And then finally then, we've got platelets. So as we sort of get to the bottom of this room, we'll just pretend it's this big room here. And as you get to the bottom there, we can have a nice scone. And it would be clotted cream and jam, but sorry, ours, we need to remember this. Ours is going to be clotted blood instead with our scone. Disgusting, I know, but again, like I said, the more disgusting it is, the more likely you are to remember the image, all right? So that's how we're going to remember the big facts that are in the room. So can remember this, Pearl really weighs pearls. So we know that it's going to be plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets. And then the red blood cells, remember, they're on a train on a plasma TV. So we know the plasma transports on the train. And remember what was coming out of the steam? It was CO2. Let's see how many I can remember. CO2, digestive biscuits, so it actually digests food. Then there was urea. Then it was hormones, because harmonica, hormones. And then the flushes are getting hot, heat, okay? Then we go down then, and remember we've got the red bus then, and out of the exhaust of that one, we've got O2, which is oxygen, so we know that transports oxygen. Then we go down, remember there was the white Pac-Man, so the white blood cells are actually ingesting, as a posh term, pathogens, because it's the path in front of him, and produces antibodies. And then finally, we go down to the bottom to think we're going to be treated to a lovely scone with clotted cream and jam, but it's clotted blood. Okay, so that's the purpose of platelets. So we've got all our big chunk now condensed into all these images, and hopefully these images are going to sit in our long-term memory. Okay, so the next part of the Cornwall note taking then is great because it just sort of digests into bullet points. So, because that's a narrow corridor, yeah, we're going to now go through the door, we're going to go through a very narrow corridor. And guess who's there? It's Pearl. And Pearl is a lady now in the corridor and all her pearls are broken. They're all on the floor and everything, and she thinks, right, I'm never going to wear pearls again. That's why Pearl really wears pearls, okay? So we're just going to remember the bullet points of this is that the blood contains, remember, plasma, red, white blood cells, white blood cells, platelets. That's how we're going to condense that. And she's holding up a big banner because we just want a bullet point basically. So two of the functions of the four components are going to be transport, related to transport, okay? So, and then we've got one that helps the immune system. So we could maybe have a banner, somebody could be on the banner sneezing to remind us it's the immune system. and then one helps with blood clot, and when you could have Pearl with a nosebleed with a blood clot coming out of it, anything you're going to remember. That's our bullet points of what we've learnt, and she's in the corridor. And finally, as we go out then, we're going to summarise it all, and the summary is this. I took it off BBC Bite Size. Blood transports, there's thunder outside. So blood transports materials and heat around the body and helps to protect against disease. So as we go out, we get onto a bus to get home, because we're going to a different home now. So we get on a bus, and guess what? The conductor gives us lots of material to wrap around ourselves, okay? And what do you think that's going to do? Is going to make us really hot, okay? So that helps us remember that blood transports materials and heat around the body, because we've got material all around our body and we're hot. And then everybody else on the bus is sneezing like mad. And I mean, that's particularly appropriate, isn't it, at the moment with all this COVID going on. They're all sneezing, but guess what? We're not, because we know that the white blood cells are protecting us. So that's what helps to protect against disease. So the summary we remember is blood transports materials and heat around the body and helps to protect against disease. Alright, so that's it for today's tutorial, as per a request, on how to combine Dr. Chan's total recall system along with the Cornwall note-taking method. So you've had 2 tips here really, how to incorporate Cornwall note-taking method to begin with, to get all your information condensed, and then how to learn it and transfer it to your long-term memory via the Dr. Chan's GCSE total recall system. As ever, I'll pop a link at the bottom, because I'd highly recommend, if you haven't already bought Dr. Chan's total recall system, because it's not just good for GCSEs, it's good for any age group from 8 right up to 88, because you can adapt it. You've just seen how I've just adapted it to university style notes. Alright, so I'll pop a link, and as ever I'll just be transparent and say if you click on my link, there is a chance I could get paid a commission, but you won't pay any more whatsoever for the product, because it's just the product owner will pay me direct for any eligible commissions. And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's actually nothing to lose and everything to gain. Alright, that's it for today's YouTube video. And again, like I said, if you want to make sure you don't miss any other tips like this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to touch the bell on there, because that'll notify you when I've made the next video. That's it. Thanks ever so much for watching, and thanks for all your lovely comments and likes. It means a lot to me. See you on the next video. Bye for now.